what do you think of life in Mousehole when it comes to holiday lets, Airbnbs and second homes?
I feel very strongly against it, but what can you do, you know?
Yeah.
We don't seem to have a voice, do we?
Well, one thing that my channel does do, because it's completely my channel, is it allows the real sentiment of real people to be put online, so you do have a voice. Some of my recent videos have stirred the pot, it seems, when it comes to highlighting the friction that exists between locals and visitors here in Cornwall. Now, one of the main reasons for this friction is a lack of available housing for locals, and in no way has this been helped by the proliferation of Airbnbs and holiday lets in this part of the country. Now, there are few places where the issue is as acute as in the beautiful fishing village of Mousehole in far west Cornwall. So I thought I would take to the streets of Mousehole today, have a wander around, try and find some locals and ask them what they think about Airbnbs, holiday lets and second homes. Let's go. So what do you think about Airbnbs, holiday homes in this area?
I think it's absolutely bullshit,
Yeah.
if I can say that.
Of course, you can say whatever you want.
Okay, great. Especially the rise of like the second homeowners, take all their money out of the area when it's off season. They come down when it's on season, a few weeks, a bit of money spent, and then it all goes out of the county again. It means it's destroying communities because people haven't got a place to live, working people haven't got places to live, and it's breaking down things like transport. Public transport is being seen as unnecessary in certain areas.
Quite relevant to where we are right now.
Yeah. Because
so you're saying that the transport's getting less and less because there are fewer local people that can afford to live here
exactly.
to use the services.
So it's not needed because of a few Tories have got some houses down here, so who needs to have public transport? Local people aren't able to afford to buy houses. There's people who I know who have worked all their lives down here who are still having to rent because the false inflation because of the second homeowners.
People with lots of money.
Everywhere you go in Mousehole, folks, you see these Aspects Holidays signs. That's one of the main companies in the area that rents out holiday lets, that turns what were once family homes into holiday lets for people to come and stay in. Aspects Holiday Let. So what do you think about holiday lets and Airbnbs? What's it done to the village of Mousehole in recent years?
Changed it beyond belief.
Okay, is that a positive or a negative thing?
A lot of it's negative.
Yeah.
People say that we need tourism. Yes, we do need tourism, but in a managed level. The immediate part of the village here. Something like 80% are second homes or holiday lets, and it's unsustainable because you haven't got the people to maintain the properties living in the village. So all that is bringing extra traffic with those people coming in to maintain. And a lot of the holiday lets, they bring 2 cars with them. For instance, parking spaces are limited, and for people living here, you find when they come home from work, there's nowhere to park.
And what do you think it's done for just like maybe in the last 10, 20 years? What's happened to the local way of life, the sense of community?
Here we have a pretty good sense of community amongst the among the residents, but thinking about most of the residents are getting older, so the whole thing's just going to get worse.
So what do you think for the future? What do you think can be done?
Well, everywhere changes, but some places change not for the better.
What do you think about it all?
Personally, I haven't got nothing against it, but a lot of people are empty, so...
But you haven't got anything against it per se?
What happens, doesn't it? You can't do nothing about people, things change, don't they?
Do you think that the ecosystem of it all can be managed a little bit better, so it's a little bit more balanced?
I don't know which way you could enforce that or do that. It's easier said than done, isn't it?
Sort of out of the common man's hands, do you think?
I just think things take its course, doesn't it? It's the way I look at it.
I must point out that the people of Mousehole have been incredibly welcoming and willing to talk to me as a whole. but the few people that haven't been willing to talk to me, they basically give the impression that they don't want to cut off their nose to spite their face. They do have an opinion about holiday lets in the village, but they probably gain employment in some way through the industry, so they really don't want to badmouth holiday lets because it will affect their way of earning a living.
It is a big problem.
Yeah, it's
a huge problem.
I'm talking to everybody I meet really, just trying to get a spread of the opinion of the community about where Mousehole is at, or where the wider general area is at.
I mean, my ex was evicted from her house she'd lived in for 22 years.
Yeah, really.
Which was owned by St Leven Estates, which are on the St Michael's Mount.
Yeah.
And they formed a residents committee, tried to keep her there, but they just told her to get lost. Basically.
And when was that?
Mind your own business. Last year.
Really? Yeah.
But it turned it into a holiday let. And they wanted it for AirBnB.
Yeah, yeah.
So even the people that were in the past gave you feet first out of the cottages,
yeah,
are evicting people.
Yeah.
I think they evicted other people as well.
Yeah.
Claiming financial difficulties.
It just doesn't seem sustainable, does it? It doesn't seem sustainable in the
nobody
long
local.
term.
I mean, she looked for places, and there was like anywhere that came up, there was 30 people viewing them, or 40 or 50, lots of people viewing them, because there isn't anywhere anymore.
To rent, yeah. I mean,
there's a need for tourism, a big need for it.
The ecosystem has to be delicately balanced.
There's a balance, and I think it's tipped a bit too much to the Airbnb, and in the wintertime, it's there's very few people that are full time. I think everybody recognizes the problem, but people are just greed kind of. People think, I could rent my house for 3 months, and that's my income for the year.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? As long as there's so much money to be made, why would somebody that owns a property rent it to a local family for £1,000 a month when they can get £1,000, £2,000 a week?
Yeah, but this is an area of low population and also relatively low wages and low employment in the winter. And so when you start having that kind of rent that they're bringing in now, and everyone's jumping on the bandwagon and putting up just rents for rentals.
Yeah.
And you're having to work more and more of the week just to pay the rent. Yeah. Before you pay any other bills.
Yeah.
And that's one of the knock-on effects of it, is that all the rents go up.
Yeah. And how are we going to find local people on low wages?
Well, you can't. That's the thing. You've got a lot of people coming here working from home on 30, 40, 50, 100,000 a year, whereas the local people on a minimum, a lot of people on a minimum wage.
We're going to end up with a situation where rich people from up country are going to be down here with no one to serve them, shucking their own oysters.
Yeah.
Because there's no hospitality staff.
I heard a beautiful story. This guy, Jackson, I think his name is Jackson, him and his pregnant wife at the time with twins had been looking for a house and had saved a good chunk down payment, and they had some help from other friends as well. And every time they looked at a house, they'd go and look at it. They'd be ready to pay the asking price, and it would get, it would go above asking, and they couldn't find a place and couldn't find a place. Eventually, he found a place in Senan. He's like, this is too good to be true, and he went there, and the guy really liked him and agreed to sell it to him for the asking price. And he found out afterwards that the guy had been offered well above the asking price by some people from up country, in London or something, and he refused it and gave it to this kid, and he found out afterwards. And he wrote an article in the Cornishman, saying thank you to this guy, and also with an attempt to kind of get that in people's consciousness to kind of do the right thing. This guy gave up less money to create a home for this guy, which is really beautiful. Yeah.
You're lucky to find any locals.
Yeah, well, I found two, it seems. So I've actually found about 8 different people already who are willing to talk to me. Okay, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I come originally from the Isles of Scilly.
What do you think of life in Mousehole when it comes to holiday lets, Airbnbs and second homes?
I feel very strongly against it, but what can you do? We don't seem to have a voice, do we?
Well, one thing that my channel does do, because it's completely my channel, is it allows the real sentiment of real people to be put online. So you do have a voice. You've lived in your house here for how long?
Since 76.
76.
We bought it in 69, but we were living over because, as I say, I'm from the Isles of Scilly.
Yeah.
And we got married on the Isles of Scilly, and my husband was a telephone engineer there for 8 years.
Yeah.
But we bought it the year after we were married, knowing that full well that we would be shifting back here at some time.
So you've been here since 76. What's
I was born here.
What's happened to the sense of community in your time here?
There ain't no sense of community.
Okay. Yeah.
We got the harbour lights now, which almost with one or two exceptions, all retired people here.
Yeah.
And
what do you think? You think most of the people that live here are now retired?
There are a few young people coming into the village, but it is few.
Yeah. No locals.
No locals, no. I can give you, for instance, I'm treasurer of the Mousehole Methodist Church, and unfortunately we have got a big problem inside the church. We've got to renew the whole of the floor.
Yeah.
To be able to do this, we're going to have to sell our Sunday school.
Really?
Building, and it's in a beautiful
that's heartbreaking,
prime position.
You think that's going to be turned into holiday accommodation?
Ideally, what we would have liked to have seen is to be sold to somebody who would turn it into affordable homes or flats for the local population. They said, unfortunately, the Charities Commission will not budge.
Yeah.
It's got to go to the highest bidder. So I can see it being turned into luxury flats.
It's heartbreaking, yeah. So you're saying you've got no town council sticking up for rights of the locals.
Part of Penzance.
Okay. And you think they're not as concerned with your opinion here?
We feel in this village that we are around the corner. See that place across the road is being done up, and it's people from London, as far as we know.
Yeah.
That have got it. There's a couple that they live in Haymore.
Yeah.
But they're doing it up for a friend, sort of thing, you know. Yeah. Whether they'll come and live, I don't know. Next door here is a summer. Well, in fact, either side of us really is summer lets, you know.
Okay, so in winter you've got no neighbours. No. And when did that change? When did that become so?
It started really changing about 20 years ago, I suppose. And it just. Locals can't afford anything. But to be honest, I fear for the future. I think this is going to end up as just purely a holiday village.
How close are we towards that already? In a percentage?
It's about 80% second homes.
Yeah. See these 3 cottages here?
Yep.
Second homes.
Yep.
That over has just been done up. Apparently it's for a second home. That's a retired London businessman.
Hi, Simon.
That place down there is a summer let.
Yeah.
But it's owned by a local person.
Yeah.
No, sorry, isn't it? They got a long let.
That's a long let one.
Yeah.
But there's a load of places up Regent's Terrace that are, not occupied 12 years, 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
It's.
I'm a bit depressed at the moment because I go out this morning and do you see anybody to speak to? Almost, with exception, no.
Yeah. How do you find the incomers? Do they try and get involved in the community, or do you feel a bit alienated now that you're the 20%?
Yes, to a certain extent, yeah. The ones that have moved into the village and live in permanently, they don't seem to integrate with the locals so much. So I don't know. I don't know what the future is, to be honest.
Yeah. I must say that I think it's a shame that the majority of local residents that I've spoke to, they feel that this trend of second home holiday let ownership is inevitable and that there's nothing they can do. I feel that the momentum is very much not in their favour, and that sooner rather than later the village which they grew up in and which stretches back for generations in their families will no longer be a community and it will simply become a holiday resort. Let me know what you think, folks. Let me know your opinions, what side of the debate you stand on when it comes to the ever-growing presence of holiday rentals and second homes in Cornwall.